see so many people, and they're all doing something. And they're all looking so busy, right? So you just kind of copy what they do. You also look busy and you go to your classes and whatnot. What you don't realize is that most people have no idea what they're doing. I got a couple questions for you guys. By show of hands, how many of you here have worked on a project by yourself? Okay, you're doing good so far. How many of you guys think it's good to study nursing? Okay, less people, that's okay. What about engineering? Okay. Have you guys ever done anything badly? Okay. Have you guys ever learned something from that bad experience? Okay. And did you think it would be like the end of the world? Like you thought that if this thing happens, that's it. You know, like there's going to be a huge meteor that's going to come down and it's going to destroy you just because you thought that, oh no, if I make this mistake, my boss is going to come here and fire me and it's going to be the end of my world. Brings me to this point. There are some things that are stopping you from being truly, truly great. First of all, it's you. You are the person that tells yourself what is good and what's bad. You are the one who says if you did a fantastic job, if you did okay. You underestimate yourself. Most of your experiences as a person provide you with experience to do other things. You worked on a project by yourself. So if you have an assignment to do at work, which you're not familiar with, you could probably do it. It's very similar to what you did before. Consequences. People overestimate the consequences so much. You think that if something's going to happen, like that an event will cause the end of the world for you. That you think that it's going to be, you're going to die out of embarrassment. You think that if you go up and talk to that girl at the club, she's going to go to the DJ is going to stop the music. Like, you see that white guy? You see that guy in the white jacket? Yeah, he's a loser. Don't talk to him. That's not going to happen. Let's be realistic here. So, and lastly, people don't have the vision and the goals to drive them in the direction they want to go. So, what is a vision? A vision is a sentence that summarizes what your strengths are and tells you what direction you're moving in. This sentence is going to drive you how you're going to live your life. And it's okay for it to change. It's okay to be searching for your vision if you don't know what you're doing. That's totally fine. Once you find it, everything just starts to click into place. You can ask yourself a question of whether what you're doing is related to your vision, and it's going to help you move exactly where you want to go. Your vision is your why you're doing something. So it's going to tell you what you must and you mustn't do, what's good and what's bad. And it's just all about your perspective. Now, these are the questions that you should ask yourself when you're considering whether to do or not to do something. You ask yourself, have I done this before? And as I told you before, most of the time you have done something similar and you can do it. Says who is the next question. And most of the time you realize that if you think you can't do something, it's not because George or Jenny said you can't do it. Most of the time it's you who says you can't do it. What is stopping me? This is a different question because here you ask yourself, what are the logistical aspects that's stopping me from doing something? No matter how great I think I am, I can't skate without skates. That's just a logistical question. And what is stopping you is me having skates if I want to go skating. What can I learn from this experience is the next question you should ask yourself. If you can learn something from this experience, great, do it. Because if you do it and it goes great, you're going the direction you want to go. If you did it and it goes badly, you learn something. It's a win-win either way. And you're scared of the consequences, and it doesn't matter. The consequences, most of the time, you can deal with them. Most of the time, it's just feeling uncomfortable for 20 seconds. And I think you can deal with that because with your vision, most of the time, it involves growth. And growing can be uncomfortable at times. And you should be aware that you can probably deal with it. And last question is really. Really is, after you ask yourself each of the questions I mentioned before, you ask yourself, is that really the answer? Because most of the time you'll come up with this huge story that's not really reflective of reality. Now, your passion. Your vision is your why, your passion is your how. Your passion is how do you materialize your vision. So if you don't know what it is, it's totally fine. Here's a couple of tips for you to know how to figure it out. You just look at what do you think is really, really cool to do, or what would be just something you might like, and you try it. Obviously, look at the logistics of what do I need to get there, and then you just try it. Because worst case scenario, you're going to try it for 2 months or whatnot, you're not going to like it, you move on to something else which you like. Now your goal. Now when you have your why and you have your how, you have your what. How do you measure that you're going in the direction you want to go? That's your stop signs to tell you that you're going in the right direction. So it should be consistent with your vision and your passion, like I mentioned before. Logistics, you should see if it's measurable and if it's realistic. And it's okay to change your goal once you keep going. Once you start your goal, if you see that it's not realistic, that's totally fine as long as you keep going at it. Then you look at the commitment. How important to you is the goal on a scale from 1 to 10? If it's like a 5, don't even bother. It's a waste of your time. Life is too short for you to just waste your time on things that are not that important to you. You look at whether you can commit to it. Whether you can commit a certain amount of time per week or per day, it doesn't matter, 15 minutes per day or 20 hours per week. Just commit that time. If you can consistently commit that time. And if something is that important to you, I think you can do it. It's just a question of setting aside the time. Put it into your schedule. Execution. What are the consequences that you have along the way to make sure that you're on the right path? It's incredibly powerful to have punishments and rewards as you go along the way. Because classical conditioning, pretty much. So, and lastly, self-assessment. As you keep going on your path, you take a look at whether or not you're going in the way that you want to go and if you're going to achieve your goal. As I said before, it's fine to change your goal. It's just important to be honest with yourself. Brings me to my next point. Transferable habits. I call them transferable because people are consistent. It's really funny how consistent people are. And the way you talk to someone is exactly the same way you're going to be talking to yourself. And if you start to build these characteristics as you interact with people, it's going to be the same way that you interact with yourself. When you're honest, you become convicted in what you say and what you do. And you can really feel that of a person because that's authentic. And the more you do that, the more you kind of begin to trust yourself. You begin to trust what you yourself can do. And what you yourself say, if you think you can do it or you think you can't. And with some time, it's going to become even easier and easier to be honest with yourself. If you think you can commit to something a certain amount of time per week or you can't. Respect and kindness. While you have to respect other people, you have to also respect yourself. And the boundaries that you have for yourself, you have to keep them. And it doesn't mean you disrespect other people. It means that you respectfully let them know that, hey, I have this boundary, and it's not okay if you cross it. Like, you're a good person, but I cannot do this. That's totally fine. And kindness, when you do something, you can reward yourself. And it's okay to tell yourself, you know what? I did a good job today. If you spend those 4 hours after a lecture really studying what you wanted to study, and you really put in your best, you should reward yourself. And lastly, Power versus Force. It's a fantastic book, highly recommend. Basically, they took like a bunch of people and they made them, for example, hold a weight. It was a bunch of experiments, but one of them was to hold the weight. And the people that were thinking of a truth, they told one group to think of a truth and the other group to think of a lie. And the people that were told to think of the truth had an easier time holding the weight for longer. Which is, again, honesty and conviction. The more honest and convicted you are within what you're doing, the more powerful you become. Summary. Here, I've talked to you about the psychological ways to achieve your goals and the commitment and the behavioral ways to reach your goals. So, your vision and your passion is what, and your why and your how. Your beliefs is your thinking along the way and how you treat other people. Your habits is the commitments that you make and that you keep. And the resilience of keeping your commitments and being honest with yourself. When you have those four things aligned, there is nothing that you can't achieve. If you can imagine it and you're willing to set aside enough time for that goal, you can achieve it. Thank you.